The global geopolitical landscape is entering a period of violent transformation as tensions between nations escalate at a breathtaking speed. Iran, a major power in the Middle East, has sent out signals widely interpreted as a direct threat toward Ukraine. At the same time, Turkey has issued a stark warning. Israel may be preparing to launch a preemptive strike against Iran at any moment. This escalation is no longer confined to diplomatic rhetoric. The ripple effects are already visible in the real world. International airlines have begun suspending flights to destinations across the Middle East, a rare and telling move that reflects an exceptionally high assessment of the risk of armed conflict erupting across the region. Even more alarming are the suspicious financial maneuvers now linked to senior commanders of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Intelligence sources suspect that assets worth billions of dollars are being quietly moved out of the country, with Russia emerging as the primary destination. Analysts believe this is not simple corruption, but preparation, an early-stage contingency plan for strategic withdrawal should Iran face military strikes or slide into serious domestic instability. And this time, the spark did not come from the battlefield. It came from a global economic stage. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered a speech that sent shockwaves far beyond the walls of the conference hall. Abandoning diplomatic restraint, he openly and forcefully condemned the government in Tehran. There have been too many discussions about protests in Iran, Zelensky declared, but in the end, they were all drowned in blood. The world has not done enough to help the people of Iran. Those words, spoken in Switzerland, echoed across the globe. And from that moment on, Iran's response was no longer a question of if, only when. Ladies and gentlemen, according to many observers, Iran's internal crisis is rapidly becoming an open wound for the entire region, while Western leaders continue to hesitate. Caught between hardline confrontation and cautious diplomacy, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has shown no such restraint. Force has been deployed to crush protests, leaving thousands dead in the streets. The absence of a decisive international response is widely seen as having emboldened the regime in Tehran. With little immediate consequence, its actions have grown increasingly reckless, dragging the region toward an extreme and dangerously uncontrollable spiral. Some analysts warn that if Iran's theocratic regime survives this brutal crackdown, it will establish a perilous precedent for authoritarian governments worldwide. The unspoken lesson is clear: if repression is ruthless enough, power can be preserved amid the silence, hesitation, or paralysis of the international community. This leads to a critical question. Why has Ukraine chosen this precise moment to confront Iran so openly? The answer lies in the grinding war in Eastern Europe. Since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Iran has emerged as a key enabler of Moscow's war machine. Iranian-made Shahed suicide drones, along with various missile systems, have been deployed to devastate both civilian neighborhoods and military infrastructure across Ukraine. Now, as Iran finds itself under pressure both at home and on the international stage, President Volodymyr Zelensky has chosen this moment to strike back, this time on the diplomatic battlefield. He has been clear and unambiguous in his objective: to isolate Iran, tighten sanctions, and force Tehran to pay a price for supporting Russia's invasion from behind the front lines. When looking back at the strategy launched by President Vladimir Putin with what was labeled a 3-day special military operation, the consequences appear far more severe than originally anticipated. Russia not only failed to achieve swift control over Ukraine, but instead dragged itself into a prolonged war of attrition, one that has steadily drained its resources and left its economy strangled under the weight of Western sanctions. Faced with this reality, Moscow urgently needed an ally, one capable of delivering not only political backing, but real tactical support. Iran stepped into that role with speed and purpose. Tehran went beyond supplying conventional weapons and emerged as a critical link in Russia's wartime logistics network. Thousands of Iranian-made Shahed suicide drones were transferred to Russia, and over time, they have spread destruction across wide swaths of Ukrainian territory. These drones are considered highly cost-effective, inexpensive to produce, easy to replace, and capable of inflicting serious damage at a fraction of the cost of more advanced weapon systems. Yet Iran-Russia military cooperation did not end with weapons deliveries. A significant turning point came when Iran began transferring drone production technology directly to Russia. Iranian engineers were deployed to Tatarstan, where they assisted Moscow in establishing domestic production lines for suicide drones on Russian soil. This marked a decisive shift from arms supplier to technological partner, allowing Russia to gain greater autonomy in sustaining its drone warfare during a prolonged and exhausting conflict. And Iran did not stop there. According to Western intelligence reports, Tehran has expanded its support even further, supplying Russia with additional strategic weapons, including ballistic missiles and air defense systems. Since the beginning of the war, the estimated value of Iranian weapons transferred to Moscow has surpassed $3 billion, a staggering figure that underscores the scale and depth of the military relationship between the two countries. Beyond advanced systems, Iran has also delivered large quantities of traditional battlefield weapons, mortars, artillery shells, and a wide range of military equipment. As Russia's own stockpiles have been steadily depleted after months of intense fighting, Tehran has stepped in as a crucial replacement supplier, allowing Moscow to maintain its offensive momentum. This partnership has clearly crossed a threshold. What was once indirect assistance has evolved into open sponsorship, with Iran playing a vital role in sustaining Russia's ability to continue the war. Seen in this light, President Zelensky's call to bring an end to the Iranian regime is not merely a moral response to repression. It is a survival-driven diplomatic strategy aimed at severing the weapons supply lines that fuel the war from Tehran to Moscow. Every suicide drone that appears in Ukrainian skies serves as a stark reminder of Iran's direct involvement in the bloodshed unfolding across Ukraine. Tehran's response was immediate and confrontational. Iran's foreign minister quickly issued a series of harsh statements aimed directly at President Zelensky's remarks. He flatly rejected the accusations and went further, accusing Ukraine of misusing Western aid to fuel corruption. At one point, he went so far as to describe the Ukrainian president as unstable, claiming he does nothing but beg the United States to carry out illegal military actions on his behalf. The rhetoric reached its peak with a deliberately provocative declaration. Unlike the Ukrainian military, which is merely a group of mercenaries dependent on foreign aid, the Iranian people know how to defend themselves and do not need to beg anyone. The statement was steeped in extreme nationalist ideology, designed to project strength and self-reliance. Not long ago, it was Iran itself that turned to Moscow in desperation, pleading for advanced air defense systems to protect its nuclear facilities from the threat of aerial attack. Tehran spent billions of dollars acquiring long-range systems such as the S-300 and S-400. Platforms promoted as impenetrable steel shields guarding the skies. Yet, real-world experience has revealed a far less reassuring reality. These systems have repeatedly fallen short of expectations, particularly when confronted with modern stealth aircraft like the US B-2. Meanwhile, Ukraine, dismissed by Iranian officials as nothing more than a mercenary force, has continued to stand firm through hundreds of attacks. It has done so not through purchased illusions of security, but through national resolve, battlefield adaptability, and sustained strategic support from the West. The contrast is stark, a nation strengthened by the will of its people versus a regime forced to buy increasingly outdated technology to compensate for widening gaps in military capability. The irony becomes impossible to ignore. Iran, after spending billions on Russian air defense systems to shield its nuclear infrastructure, now lectures Ukraine on the dangers of relying on foreign assistance. In reality, Iran's own strategic facilities have never been convincingly protected against modern technological threats. Instead of relying on reasoned argument, the Iranian government depends on sarcasm, strict information control, and ridicule as its primary tools of foreign policy. Meanwhile, the world is increasingly confronted with the stark reality of Iran's human rights crisis. According to an engineer with deep connections inside the state apparatus, the number of civilians killed during government suppression campaigns is estimated to be around 40,000. Independent verification is nearly impossible due to the regime's tight grip on information. Yet international human rights organizations have risked their lives to bring reports to light. Most agree that the death toll may have already exceeded 20,000. To put this staggering number in perspective, consider the Ukrainian battlefield, where Russia is losing approximately 30,000 soldiers each month in a full-scale war against a Western-backed army. What is truly horrifying is that in just a matter of days, the number of Iranians killed during domestic repression inside a country not officially at war may rival or even surpass the number of Russian soldiers lost in an entire month of brutal combat. Iran has no trenches, no tanks rolling through its city streets. What is unfolding is far more chilling. Unarmed civilians confronting a highly organized apparatus of repression. This is no longer ordinary human rights abuse. It is a large-scale purge occurring within the country, aimed squarely at its own citizens. Behind the staggering numbers lies an even colder truth. Tens of thousands are being detained under legally opaque conditions. Many were abducted directly from hospitals while receiving treatment for their injuries, and now face death sentences without transparent trials, legal representation, or any right to appeal. Under the direction of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, dissenters are branded as enemies of God. A charge under Sharia law that can carry the death penalty without trial. Independent sources reveal that executions are being carried out quietly, completely outside the official judicial system. Thousands have been stripped of even the right to know when their execution will take place, turning fear into a prolonged psychological torture rooted in endless uncertainty. This is not just punishment. It is a calculated form of mental torment designed to paralyze resistance across society. Amid this tense and harrowing situation, former U.S. President Donald Trump issued a statement that shocked many. I was really shocked when they were going to hang people, hang them the old-fashioned way. They were going to hang 837 people on Thursday, and I told them straight, you can't do that. If you do, the consequences will be very severe. I can't say exactly what I told them, but my words were very strong and they stopped the plan, at least temporarily. If Trump's account is accurate, it suggests that international pressure, even when inconsistent, can at least partially restrain Iran's execution machine. Yet a far deeper concern remains unanswered. How many have already been executed in silence, and how many more languish on death lists that the world may never see? Against this tense backdrop, the Middle East is teetering on the edge of a breaking point. When asked about policy toward Iran, former U.S. President Donald Trump reaffirmed his hardline stance, imposing a 25% tariff on any country or entity continuing trade with Tehran. This is a calculated strategy aimed at choking off the financial lifelines that support both repression and war. But economic measures and political statements are only part of the picture. The United States has also undertaken a series of decisive military preparations, readying forces for emergency scenarios. U.S. troops are being deployed on a large scale throughout the Gulf, not merely as a show of strategic deterrence, but as a fully operational combat force, prepared to act should the situation spiral out of control. According to multiple sources, a preemptive strike on Iran could very well be carried out by Israel, as officially warned by Turkey's foreign minister. Yet the US military presence in the region is not necessarily intended to strike first. Its primary mission is to defend against potential Iranian retaliation. Defense analysts are in agreement. Tehran would not remain passive if attacked. Any military action could trigger the launch of ballistic missiles targeting US bases, Israeli territory, and pro-American Arab allies across the region. In response, the US Department of Defense has rapidly deployed heavy military assets to the front lines. Carrier strike groups, including the USS Abraham Lincoln, have entered the Indian Ocean, moving toward the area of responsibility of US Central Command, which spans the entire Middle East. The deployment of a carrier strike group is never accidental. Its very presence is a high-alert signal, particularly in a region where large-scale missile conflict could erupt at any moment. At the same time, 3 squadrons of F-15E Strike Eagle multi-role fighters have been forward deployed, each squadron comprising 12 to 24 aircraft, bringing the total to between 36 and 72 combat-ready planes. These jets stand poised for precision strikes, air superiority, and close air support missions. They form the core of a rapid response strategy should conflict erupt. Equally critical is the high-frequency activity of aerial refueling aircraft, a key enabler of sustained long-range air operations. These tankers allow fighters and bombers to remain airborne for hours without landing, extending their operational reach by thousands of kilometers. Yet the most serious signal is the deployment of the THAAD system, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense Missile Defense Network, to the Gulf. Designed specifically to intercept strategic ballistic missiles, the very type Iran would almost certainly employ in retaliation, THAAD is one of the most sophisticated missile defense systems in the world. Globally, only about 8 are operational. Each deployment represents a major strategic decision. THAAD has never been sent into a region merely for training exercises. Its presence signals that Washington is preparing for the very real possibility of direct confrontation, with a multi-layered defensive shield ready to intercept any retaliatory strikes the moment a first attack occurs. Tensions have escalated so sharply that European airlines, including Lufthansa, Air France, and KLM, have simultaneously cancelled flights to the Middle East. In international aviation, this is an extremely rare step, undertaken only under the gravest security warnings. In practice, such flight cancellations are among the earliest and clearest signals that armed conflict may be imminent. Another detail capturing the attention of military analysts is a familiar strategic pattern of the US government. Major operations often begin after financial markets close for the weekend, a calculated move to limit global investor panic. With New York markets shutting on Friday night, any preemptive strike on Iran would likely be timed for the weekend. Increasingly, real-world indicators reinforce the prediction that the Middle East is approaching a critical tipping point. What the United States is deploying on the ground is no longer symbolic deterrence. It is a fully combat-ready posture, prepared to ignite full-scale war should the worst-case scenario unfold. These escalating tensions are visible not only in military maneuvers and harsh rhetoric, but also in financial and political signals emerging from Iran itself. Recent reports suggest that senior commanders of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps are quietly moving vast sums of assets out of the country, a clear sign they are preparing for a strategic retreat in the event the regime collapses or descends into chaos. Leaked intelligence documents reveal that total financial transactions between Iran's Revolutionary Guard and the Russian Federation have reached an estimated $4 billion. Alarmingly, only a fraction of this sum has been directed toward official military activities. The majority, approximately $700 million, was reportedly funneled directly into the personal accounts of 2 individuals already under international sanctions, Khani and Nabisada. To obscure the financial trails, the network allegedly used Nabisada's wife, Zakia, as a legal front. Despite not speaking foreign languages and relying solely on her native tongue, she legally owns a vast portfolio of international assets. A large hotel in Uzbekistan, 2 luxury apartments in a high-end Moscow complex, and a private vacation villa in Turkey. Financial analysts warn that this is likely only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface lies a sophisticated money laundering network designed to move national assets abroad while evading Western oversight. But this system is not purely about profiteering. It is also a form of strategic contingency, ensuring safe escape routes for Iran's top leadership should the regime face collapse or chaos. If the Tehran regime cannot withstand the mounting domestic unrest and international pressure, these operations, carried out through informal financial networks, would allow for a rapid evacuation. These vast sums bypass state banks, remain absent from official budgets, and exist entirely outside public oversight. This is no longer mere corruption. It is a stark sign of deep fractures within Iran's power structure as senior generals quietly prepare personal escape plans. It reflects a profound loss of confidence in the regime's survival. Asset transfers, second passports, and foreign safe havens all point to one chilling reality. Even the top leaders no longer believe that the theocratic system will endure. Western intelligence agencies have also uncovered the formation of a so-called Airbnb network for Iran's elite. Assets in pro-Russian countries ready to shelter high-value political figures if they are forced to flee. From private villas in Antalya to hotels in Tashkent, every detail has been prepared for emergency escape. In this context, the war in Ukraine and the escalating tensions in the Middle East are deeply intertwined, militarily, financially, politically, and in terms of regime survival. The collapse or transformation of Iran would trigger a domino effect, reshaping the global balance of power, particularly between the West and the authoritarian blocs that are closely cooperating. Increasingly, signs emerging from within Iran confirm what many observers have long predicted. The theocratic regime in Tehran is under threat not only from external pressures, but also from fractures within its own leadership. Like a high-stakes chess game approaching its end, the players have already begun preparing their final moves.